Om Jnanatimidandhasya Jnanam Jana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, reading from Bhaktivinoda Thakur Saranagati, Prayers of Surrender. I'm jumping ahead 2 songs. I'll go back to them on another day. So now we're talking about anukula sankalpa, the firm determination or the vow to take up those activities which are favorable for devotional service. Different activities are favorable for advancing in Krishna consciousness, and others are unfavorable. So a devotee should do those things which help him to become advanced in Krishna, and give up those things which block his progress. 6 basic items which are favorable for progress on the path of love of God are mentioned by Rupa Goswami in his Buddhishamrita, which is a very important book which teaches us how to advance in Krishna consciousness. So the 6 items are as follows. Utsaham means enthusiasm. Nischaya, determination. Dharya, patience. Tat karma pravartana, following all the rules and regulations of devotional service. Sangha tyaga, giving up the association of non-devotees. And sato vrite, following in the footsteps of great devotees. Shadhe bhakti prasiddhiti, by these 6 principles, our devotion becomes enhanced to the perfectional level. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is describing all different items of activities which are favorable for increasing our devotion. Tuwa bhakti anukula, jai karja hoy, param jatane taha karibo nishchoy. He says, my dear Krishna, whatever activities are favorable for your devotional service, that very carefully and determinedly I take them up. Bhakti anukul jato vishoy samsari karibo tahate rati indriya dari. Says that however the senses can be used in a way that is favorable for Krishna consciousness, that I will do. And actually do that with attachment. Now this is a very interesting point, because we often hear how our senses should be controlled. The senses that Bhaktivinoda Thakur also sings, Sharira vidya jao jarendriyata hilpa take jita katin sansari. He says that this body is avidya jal, it is product of ignorance. And the senses, how do they translate? The senses are a network of paths leading to death. The cow means Jarendriya, they are leading us to our death. And to conquer over the senses is very difficult in this world. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is suggesting we can conquer our senses by engaging them in the service of Krishna. What are the senses? Seeing, touching, tasting, smelling, feeling. So if these senses are engaged in sense gratification, that is the path of degradation. If they're engaged in the service of Krishna, that is the path of love. So we should be attached to using our senses in the service of Krishna. We should want to see the form of Krishna. The perfection of the sense of taste is to taste Krishna Prasad. You can enjoy Krishna Prasad. I'm purified. Not that we give up. No, I don't want any food. We can take Krishna Prasad. So all the senses, they should be used in Krishna's service.
Служение Кришне.
He says that I will very carefully listen to talks about you, Krishna. We are accustomed to hear so many different things. We like to hear the news, some politics, or some local politics in our apartment building, who's going to marry who, and who's not married, who's fighting with who, and village politics. So this talk goes on all your life. Or he's fighting with her, and he wants to marry her, but she doesn't want to marry him. You can spend your whole life discussing this. At the time of death, what will be your benefit? Zero. Zilch. Nothing. Nothing.
Ничего.
Null and void. Absolutely nothing. So if we hear about Krishna, that is very valuable. That is purifying. We can hear about Krishna. There's so much to hear about. There's so many books about Krishna. We can discuss how Krishna is creating this material world, how he's maintaining it, how he's destroying it, how he's taking out the cows, how he's dancing with the gopis. So many different incarnations. Ram Leela, Varaha Leela, Nrsimha Leela. These wonderful pastimes of the Lord. You can hear about Krishna. Don't hear about some rascal politician. All the politicians, they like to speak. You'll find newspapers simply full what the politicians are speaking. All the nonsense they're talking. Whether we hear what Krishna has to say. Shri Bhagavan Uvach. In Bhagavad Gita we find Shri Bhagavan Uvach. This means God is speaking. So is it not better to hear what God is saying than what some politician is saying? So let us use our ears for hearing about Krishna. The difference between an animal and a human being is that the human being has the ability to hear, to take some instruction, to take some guidance, and in this way become benefited. An animal cannot hear. An animal cannot consider what is the purpose of life. Human being can. So human beings should not waste their lives simply for hearing all nonsense things. They should hear about Krishna. And also, Dekibo Tomar Dham Nayan Bharya. And he says, I would also like to fill my eyes by seeing your holy Dham. Of course, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was, Dham means the holy place of Krishna's pastime. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was living in the holy Dham. At the time when he was writing this poem, he was living in Navadvip Dham, the place of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we're not so fortunate to live there. We're all living in Lenin's Dham, Lenin of course. So some people may think that Lenin is better than Krishna, but we don't think so. We're not so foolish. So we want to see Krishna's Dham, his holy place. Anyway, you have these pictures. These are windows through to the spiritual world. You can see. Here is Krishna. Krishna is playing on his flute. Always you'll find there's some peacock. So let us always see the form of Krishna. This is soothing to the eyes. Our eyes are always seeing big apartment buildings and machines. It simply causes a disturbance in the mind. But when we see the form of Krishna, that is soothing to the eyes. That is pleasing. Transcendentally pleasing. People, they may want to see something else which they find pleasing. Just like you see all these plastic bags people carry around in Russia now. They all have some picture of some young girl. So they're thinking this is very pleasing. Actually, it's just an agitation to the mind. When we see the form of Krishna, Krishna is more beautiful than millions of young girls. Whatever beauty is there in this world is simply a reflection of the beauty of Krishna. And the beauty of Krishna doesn't agitate the mind, but rather that awakens our real taste of love for Krishna. So let us always see Krishna. That is the perfection of the eyes, is to appreciate the beauty of the form. Toma prasade deha koribo prashan. This means that by taking Krishna Prasad, food offered to Krishna, I will nourish the body. So we all have to eat something. Some people eat sausages and bones and things like this. Some people eat crabs. Some people eat snakes and rats and grasshoppers. And some people eat vegetarian food. We don't eat any of these things. We eat Krishna Prasad, food which is offered to. That's not even really vegetarian food. Because vegetarian means he has taken the vow to eat only foods from the vegetable category. But our vow is to take food only which is offered to Krishna. Now Krishna doesn't eat meat. He's protecting the cows, not killing them. But we are taking Krishna Prasad because it's offered to Krishna. Not because it's vegetarian. We are Krishnatarians. That is our vow. That which is offered to Krishna. Because even if you eat vegetarian food, that also won't help you to love Krishna. Just to be a vegetarian, that in itself is not a very great achievement. We prefer people would be vegetarian and non-vegetarian. But just by being vegetarian, that doesn't advance you on the path of love. So many birds are vegetarian. Monkeys, elephants, they're all vegetarian. That doesn't mean that they're spiritually healthy. So we should take only food which is offered to Krishna. We can offer so many different nice things. Probably living in Russia, you haven't even imagined so many nice things can be offered to Krishna. So many different varieties of foods are offered to Krishna. So if you take these nice foods offered to Krishna, you can be quite healthy. Sometimes people think by being vegetarian, you'll become unhealthy. Well, one thing is, I don't say that in Russia by eating meat, people are very healthy. So many people get cancer. So one of the main causes of cancer is meat eating, according to scientific studies. Another thing is that devotees of Krishna, we are vegetarians, but we're not lacking in energy. We rise early in the morning and we're active in Krishna service all day. And you see also big, strong people who are vegetarian. One of my friends, he's my godbrother, his son is 17 years old. He's taller than me and big and strong like this. And he never touched one drop of meat in his life. The goal of life is not to have a big strong body. Just making the point that you can be very healthy by taking vegetarian. The elephant is quite strong by taking vegetarian. So these are, sometimes when devotees of Krishna, they want to take only Krishna Prasad, people tell them, no, you'll become unhealthy. You cannot be healthy unless you eat sausages and bones. This is not true. By taking Krishna Prasad, you'll be physically nourished and spiritually nourished. And for smelling, we all want to smell something. You can smell tulsi which is being offered to Krishna. Tulsi flowers and all different flowers you can offer to Krishna. In Russia, there's so many nice flowers. That is Krishna's blessing. Take offer to Krishna, smell those flowers. Very nice. Krishna is very fond of flowers. So you offer to him, please. Patram pushpam, kalam kayam. If you offer Krishna a fruit, flower, leaf or water, with love, he'll be very satisfied. Karo dare karibo toma shiva shada. Kar dare karibo toma shiva shada. With my hands, I will always do your service. This hand can be used for so many different things. We never think much about this hand. How essential this hand is to us. Okay. Just like the ladies are cooking or cleaning the house, or some man is an engineer driving. So all the different things. You see this lady is stroking her boy's head. And he's using his hand to support the body while he's sitting. So how essential this hand is to us. Like Bhakti Thakur says, I'll always use that in your service. Do different things for Krishna. You can write something for Krishna. You can clean the floor for Krishna. There's so many different services to be done for Krishna. Tomar Bhashati Sthale Vashibo Sarvada. He says, I would like to always live in your place. That means, of course, if you can live in the holy place of Krishna's pastime, that's very nice. Or you can live in a center of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Or you can make your home a place of Krishna's pastime. Worship Krishna in your home. Tomar Shivai Kam Nijo Karibo. All my desires, we have so many desires. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur is recommending that we change the desires for our personal enjoyment into desires for Krishna's service. Instead of thinking, let me do something for myself, or even instead of thinking, let me do something for my family or my country, we can think, let me do something for Krishna. And many, many things to be done. This Krishna consciousness needs preaching all over the world. So Leninogorsk is also part of the world, so preaching should be done here. You can go door to door, distribute Prabhupada's books. Thinking. Everyone's always thinking about the future. What shall I do? What shall I do? What shall I do? So you have so many desires. But instead of planning for sense gratification, let us plan how to serve. Tomar bideshi jane krod dekhaibo. It says, if I have to get angry, I will get angry at those who are against Krishna consciousness. Anger is also one emotion. So, anger, we may say, we should not get angry. So generally that's true. But if people are against Krishna and we show anger to them, that's good. If someone is blaspheming Krishna or saying all nonsense things, simply to say, oh, that's okay, that's very bad for our devotion. There are two great epics in Indian history. One is Mahabharata and the other is Ramayana. So in Mahabharata the hero is Krishna, but practically manifesting more as a hero is Arjuna. Because Krishna, he gave the credit to Arjuna. So Arjuna became famous, glorified for fighting. Fighting means you have to be angry. You can't fight if you're in a very peaceful mood. You can't very peacefully chop someone's head off. So he was very angry and he fought and killed so many people. But he was doing that on the order of Krishna, therefore his glory. Similarly, Ramayana is the story of Lord Ram. But again, the hero who is very prominent there is Hanuman. Hanuman also became famous because he was fighting against Ravana. He demonstrated his anger in the service of Lord Ram. So anger may not be completely stopped, but if it's used properly in the service of Krishna, there is glory. E rupe sharva vritti ar sharva bhav tuwa anukula hoye labhuk prabhav. He says in this way, means I've given so many examples. All my activities and all my thoughts, I want to convert them to be favorable for your devotional service. And In this way, I will become empowered. Devotee of Krishna, he can become powerful. Powerful means Krishna gives him power to spread Krishna consciousness. If the devotee desires very much to preach Krishna's glories, then Krishna helps that devotee. So this is the secret of Krishna consciousness. Give up all personal desires and engage all our desires in the service. Tuwa bhakta anukul jaha jaha kori. Tuwa bhakti anukul bali mahadhari. Favorable, whatever the devotees who are favorable to Krishna consciousness, whatever the advanced devotees, whatever they do, that I will also do. Bhakti vinod nahi jane dharma dharma bhakti anukul tar how sarvakam sab karma. He says that I don't know what is religious and what is not religious, but whatever is favorable for devotion, that I will do. This is a very interesting point, because sometimes in the practice of religion there becomes a perplexity, a dilemma. Just to give an example, helping people who are in trouble is considered very good, and to speak the truth is also considered good. Now, there's one story. One man had taken a vow always to speak the truth, and he was quite famous for that. Now, he lived at the edge of a village next to a forest. So one day he was standing outside his home, and a man came running along the road. He said, help me, some robbers are coming to steal everything I have. So the man suggested, why don't you go and hide in the forest? So after a few minutes, a group of men came running, and they said, we are a gang of thieves.
Они сказали, мы тут воры.
We were chasing one man. He had a lot of money and we want to... Did you see him? Do you know where he is? So the man said, yes, he's hiding in that forest. So the robbers went and found him and killed him and took him. So what was right? He had taken a vow never to tell a lie. But in this circumstance, he should have told a lie. If he had told a lie, it would have been much better. If he had told them that he ran up the road, quick, chase after him, that would have been much better. But he was attached to keeping his reputation as an honest man. So sometimes what to do exactly may be difficult to understand. So for devotees, the principle is that we should always do that which is favorable for Krishna. That may sometimes mean we go against worldly morals. Just like, for instance, sometimes our devotees, they have to preach in unfavorable circumstances. I myself spent many years in Bangladesh and go there also from time to time even now. So it's a Muslim country. So when I go in through the airport, I dress in pants and shirt with a hat. They ask, what have you come for? I say, well, I've just come to visit some friends. Tourism.
Tourist.
So it's not 100% untrue, but it's mostly not very true, because I'm going there to preach Krishna. So what should I do? Should I be very honest and say I'm coming to preach Krishna consciousness? And then they'll say, well, you see that plane you just came on? You can go back and go right back on it. Then there'll be no preaching. So in this case, better we tell a little something. On with our work of preaching Krishna. Of course, we have to be very careful. We may think, well, that sounds very good, so let me get a gun and rob the bank, and then we'll have no problems for running our temple, no financial problems. So, theoretically, it's not a bad idea, but practically, it's not a very good idea, because people in general wouldn't appreciate it very much. Plus, engaging in such activities is not recommended by our Acharya. The general point is there, that we should see in every situation what to do, what is favorable for serving Krishna. In the beginning, it may be difficult to understand exactly how to do that. We have to get a concrete idea of what service to Krishna means. That we should do by taking instructions about Krishna, hearing about Krishna regularly, studying these books which Srila Prabhupada has given. And this way we can gradually advance in Krishna, which, after all, we want to do. At least those of us who have taken the determination to be Krishna conscious, we don't want anything else. We don't want a nice